Riders fans, I got this piss yellow background in remembrance of the day Suzuki won a Supercross. It's been forever, and by no surprise, it happened by Ken Roczen. Maybe you can't see the crappy yellow. I gotta turn off the other lights here. Yeah, it's hard to tell. So, maybe we'll just screw the silly lights from there. But wow. What an amazing race. I was on the edge of my pants, and I'm sitting here in PJs because I've never gone live after a post-race show before. I think Cooksy's live. I think Rotomoto is live. And then you've got the press conference that's going to happen here pretty soon. Spectacular. What is the bonus like for Suzuki? I've been saying this for a while, right? I've gotten a lot of shit, even when I said Sexton was going to KTM before anyone else. And now we heard on the broadcast that Ricky Carmichael was talking about this crap. And, I was the dude 6 months ago that said that, hey, I had some insider info that he was talking with Suzuki, and now he's won a race. And throughout this whole process, I have been one of the guys that are like, I think he can win. I absolutely think he can win. But it is not the same motorcycle. If we look at the finishes, here, let me just bring this up. Dun, dun, dun. Provisioning. Oh, okay. They already have official results up. I can't have any of the footage yet because it's still in Peacock's cloud, and I don't know. Peacock takes freaking forever for it to upload. I do have to say that I enjoy that now that they have at least have the bandwidth available to where you can have at least 90 minutes to be able to rewind. So that is a huge plus. But let's look at the Suzuki guys. You got Shane McElrath and then Kyle Chisholm finished 13th and 14th. Let's see where they qualified. This has got nothing to do with Ken and his ability. Let's look at the qualifying times. I believe I have the qualifying times up here. Here, let me zoom this stuff in so that you guys can see, because this is un-effing believable that Suzuki won. Actually, not crazy because it's not a privateer machine anymore. It is a full-fledged factory bike because you got the money behind it with Progressive. There is an interesting factor that only Progressive is on only one motorcycle. Only one motorcycle. Here I say it. I'm going to effing say it. All the factory parts, lack of a better term, is going to Kenny's bike. Shane and Kyle, man, you guys are just getting the other stuff that they were planning on going racing with. But the influx of the new money is not geared towards the other riders. It is geared towards Kenny. And rightfully so. You see it happen a bunch in Formula One where you've got a car and you got a B car. When you don't have a lot of shit to move around, you put all the expensive shit and focus on one dude. That was the primary reason why maybe the Club MX deal didn't go well for him, or the firepower, is he needed to make sure that he was the number one guy. And if you watched one of my videos last week, gosh, what was it freaking even called? Dun, dun, dun. I gotta go way back up here. And I will get to the chat, guys. I'll get to the chat. I'm all hyped up. It's almost like I've been chugging Mountain Dew, but I've actually been chugging Kirkland Costco purified water. Who knows how well it's purified, but it tastes better than the chlorine shit that's in the Arizona tap. I digress. What I was talking about was the 2023 Daytona flashback, and I believe I called Kenny icy hot because he's either super on top of it or he's got like a big-ass excuse as to why shit's not working out. And I am so impressed that he got it done. And he is paving the way for these privateer teams. Same with Max, with Firepower Honda, to be able to make these other teams make it happen. And even what Max said, I'm even more digressing. He said this. Can I put it up here? Here, I'm just gonna I think I have it already set because I think my buddy Cooksey. Here, let me turn my desktop audio on here so we can see it. This is incredible. Listen to what Max says.
Don't know if I should say this, but I went 5-5 at Southwick last year and got $1,500. And man, that was a hard race. I'm much better off racing Supercross. I'm racing World Supercross, Australian Supercross, and US Supercross, and
it's just freaking awesome that these guys are feeling comfortable enough to be able to say what's on their mind. And yeah, no doubt, Kenny's been working his effing ass off and has made it happen, and he did what he needed to get done. And I think that this has got as much to do with his work ethic as it does to aligning himself with the right people in Progressive. Progressive. You got to have the money behind to hang with these bikes, which is incredible, incredible. So without taking anything, just moving on, Tomac and AP, they decided to run that 110 tire. And at least that's what the broadcast was saying versus, a 120 versus the 110. I always ran a 110 because I was normally at altitude, and the reason behind that is the bikes were kind of chugging. You know, we didn't have enough power because of the altitude. You lose about 17, 18% in horsepower being at high altitude, at mile high. But in testing, I've also found out that with a 110 tire, yes, there's more power to it, but it handles better and it's easier to turn. It's easier to lay it over, and it doesn't want to stand up as much in ruts. A 120 tire on a track that is beat to shit, it's going to be a tractor, and it's going to stick down in there, and it's going to carry you one way. So if there's a shit ton of ruts everywhere, say the whoops or in the transitions of jumps, the 120 is going to take you, and it's going to make you go through with the rut and kick you off somewhere else. It's going to be easier to grab, just because it's wider. And when ruts are all jacked up and you don't know which one you're going to land in, you need to be able to kind of deflect. So I believe it was much smarter for these guys like Barsha, Webb, Roxon to run the 110. I think that was a mishap on Yamaha to give Tomac that 120. And Sexton, dude, I've said it in other videos before. It is no longer a coincidence if it happens every effing time. Here, let's look at his qualifying times. I mean, I guess we could bring this up. Okay, dun dun dun. Kenny qualified fourth, right? He qualified fourth, and you've got Sexton, who, by the way, got lapped, qualified first. I do have to agree with what Carmichael said, was that I think his foot snug on him. I don't agree with what he said on the Deegan crash. I think he said that the front wheel missed, and I think the rear end just hit a different rut and kicked him the other direction, and then he got in a tank slapper and ended up hitting the tough block. But this dude can be the best, the fastest guy in the world for one lap, but he has a hard time putting it together for 20. What does that tell you? It tells you that he needs to slow down. He needs to slow down mentally. He needs to do something, whether it's Adderall or something, so that he can focus more, because we know that there's really no more testing in Supercross. So, dude, Sexton, potentially that's on the table there, is to... Can't believe I'm even saying that, because I'm joking, obviously, but am I joking? His focus. He could easily become champion and be hard to beat if he could figure out what enables him to make mistakes. Is he just riding that over the edge? Because you've got 20 minutes to make it happen, but Tomac straight called it at 8 minutes into the race. I will get to some of your guys' comments. So I appreciate every single one of you that has been here. The chat rate, we're at 2. The likes are at 24. If you want me to do more post-race shows that are just candid, right? You know, meaning that there's real no script to him. Make sure you WFO that like button. But I believe everyone here will not argue that Kenny has to get the whole shot to win the race because he's not the fastest guy. He can't push through. Sexton can push through, but he needs to slow the F down so that he can finish the race on two wheels. And Tomac is a good middle man in there where he's pretty much the best of all the worlds. Like if you were to just take a rider and you go, hey, he's fast, he can adapt, he doesn't have to get the best of starts, he's mentally tough, and he's got the fitness, that is Tomac. And with Webb having the lead now by 1 point, oh man, this is going to be such a good season. Such a good season. But I feel for these guys that have to try to race 31 races. It's just crazy. But we are officially pretty much halfway point in the season right now because the next race is going to be Detroit and you've got 17. So we're maybe a little bit past halfway. So anything can happen. Barcia. Freaking Barcia. Around 11 minutes or 12 minutes into the main event, about halfway, you had Barcia make the pass on Webb because Webb was hanging out through the middle. The middle of the whoops, they create a big V. You even saw it probably the last lap or so of the racing action that the broadcast was able to show you how messed up those ruts were. And Kenny was taking the safe line going right through the middle action. I mean, even in the 250 class, you had J-Mart that was going double through the whole thing. And it made me giggle because I'm sitting there going, how is doubling through the whoop section the fastest line? But it's because anybody that's trying to stay on top of them get kicked off and they end up going down. But with Barcia, he was able to get around Webb by going to the way inside and trying to skip on top of him where Webb was kind of stuck to that double line. He tried tripling a few times, but it was something where you had to be incredibly consistent, where if you're on top and you're just deflecting off all the ruts, Barcia really had nothing to lose. However, that was a giant digression to when they came together at the end of the whoop section, it surprised Webb where I would have expected Webb to push back on Barcia, but did he notice that it was Barcia? I'm sure he knew it was Barcia. And is that why he didn't push the issue? Because he could have easily, into that step on, step off, pushed Barcia wide to hold that line. But he even said on the podium that he wasn't super happy with his racing, that he was tight, which makes perfect sense. If you're tight, you're not going to be pushing forward anymore. But that was arguably one of the better races I've seen, even though there wasn't as much of close racing. And I thought that the track itself was easy. If you were to just lay the whole track out as concrete, not easy for somebody like me, so I don't need anybody in the comments saying, oh, Johnny says it's freaking easy, but he can't qualify for shit. Yes, we know this, but the track in terms of professionals currently racing, the track was easy. The track map was easy. You only had one set of whoops. You didn't have a sand section, and the rhythms were short. You had either a double, triple, double, or a triple, triple, single, and even across the start, it was a simple, small little roller into a step-on, into a triple, into a corner. All of them, to then even the 90-degree corners, you had step-on, steps-offs. Very, very simple design. What made it incredibly difficult and why that this is called Contenders Vs Pretenders is those ruts. And Eli is normally the man when the track gets super rough. So what happened? There's a saying that you're only as good as your last race. And his last race was winning Daytona for the 7th time. So how come he all of a sudden flopped? And what did he finish? Was it a 6th? No, he got 8th. He got freaking 8th. What happened? Well, I'll tell you right now. It's that 120 tire. Plain and simple, 120 tire. Yeah, AP was able to come home in 4th, but that's really my excuse for Tomac because he should have been able to push through and done the crazy Tomac style, where 15 minutes go by and he's all of a sudden the fastest guy on the track. And if you're new to this right now, I already talked about why versus a 110 versus a 120. Yeah, they would have to probably rejet the bike, or you're not saying remap the motorcycle because bikes don't have jets anymore. But that 110 enables those guys to skip across and not really take any line, and it handles much, much better. Much better. The 250 class. It was just pretty much all Hunter. All Hunter. I'm kind of bummed that Max wasn't able to get further forward. And little Deegan, they had that whole section on Deegan for the hyping him for third place. He was running fourth for a while. Dude, the kid's fast. He's going to continue to make podiums. The 250 class is shadowed because you've got Hunter that's just taken complete ownership of it, and what happened in the 450s with Suzuki. Suzuki freaking winning a race, arguably. Yes, I'm sitting here calling out a factory bike, but it's a privateer semi-factory outlet over there with HEP Suzuki, but you never hear Carmichael or anybody call it HEP Suzuki, right? They call it X-Star Progressive, and that's incredibly important. So anybody here, that's what you should be taking away from this is A, you've got a top-tier talent, and B, you've got money behind it. And let's see Kenny do the same thing at World Supercross. And I'm incredibly surprised that Kenny was able to last the entire time and not fade, because he is icy hot. And I'm a little bit in awe of what happened. He got lucky with what happened with Sexton because it was Sexton's race to lose. Sexton, for how many times has it been this season? He was supposed to win a race. He was supposed to win at least 3 of them by now. The dude is the fastest guy. Sefer, he beats himself up. Yes, there's that saying, young and dumb and full of cum. Sexton is 23 years old, and if you look back at time at like any 23-year-old, what were you doing? You were making mistakes. So he just needs to mature a little bit, and this is all a learning experience because you learn more from failure than you do success. And so this stuff is going to eat at him enough times where he's not going to make the same mistakes. Because look at Webb. Webb had to change his racecraft to sort of phoning it in for third place because he's out there to win a championship. Sexton is out there to lead laps. He's not out there to win races. He's out there to lead laps because he's charging so hard. He's overriding that bike. He's overriding the track. He gets frustrated when he can't get around somebody quickly, when he knows he's the fastest. So it's a little bit a maturity issue, a little bit of a confidence issue, and potentially he's unhappy and the team is all pissed off because he's going to KTM. All of that equals as to why he's struggling. If he's not happy, same thing like happy wife, happy life, happy team, happy race. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. So I want you guys to all go check out the press conference and feel bad that I'm not allowed to be there. Because actually I'm not right now because I'm just chilling in my PJs. Just like, you guys probably all got a beer going and that's it. I honestly couldn't get by Costco quick enough because I was out hiking with the family, because last thing I was trying to do was go get a 30-pack of cookies, and I was going to watch some damn good racing. That was going to be my night. So, hey, appreciate every single one of you. We're at 49 likes. If you could get to 50 before I log off, I owe it to you guys. You guys are what makes this all possible. So, sincerely appreciate every single one of you. I got some good stuff planned this week, but I just had to say something. I had to get on here and just go, I am so effing excited for Kenny. to just, this is bigger than the Daytona win. Bigger than the Daytona win. Abso-effing-lutely bigger than the Daytona win. And notice, just because I'm being repetitive, Heat 1 of the 250s is sponsored by Suzuki. Note that. Suzuki is throwing money. Kenny, Progressive, sponsorship. There's big money being at played and enabling this team to level up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a full-blown factory Suzuki come next year where you've got not just Progressive money, but you've got Suzuki money as well. Anyway, everybody have a good night.